Close your eyes and feel the weight of this moment. Right now, as you breathe in the darkness, your mind is quietly constructing the world you'll wake up to tomorrow. Not with hammer and nails, but with something far more subtle and profounder. Electrical whispers of neural pathways, each one a thread in the tapestry of your perceived reality. Your brain. This magnificent 3-pound universe, nestled within your skull, has been building walls around you since the day you were born. Not walls of stone or steel, but walls of familiarity, woven from the threads of every experience you've ever had. Each memory, each repeated thought, each emotional reaction has carved a groove a little deeper into the landscape of your consciousness. And over time, these grooves have become highways, neural superhighways, that your thoughts travel automatically, without question, without pause. Tonight, let yourself imagine these pathways as rivers of light flowing through the darkness of your mind. Some are wide and well-traveled, carrying the heavy traffic of your most familiar thoughts. Others are narrow streams, barely visible, holding the faint echoes of dreams you've almost forgotten. But here's what your brain doesn't want you to know. These rivers aren't permanent. They're not carved in stone. They're more like paths through a forest. The more you walk them, the clearer they become. The less you use them, the more they fade back into the wilderness of possibility. This is the neural prison of yesterday, not bars and locks, but the gentle tyranny of habit. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom and its ancient fear, has learned to mistake repetition for truth. It whispers to you each morning, this is who you are, this is what's possible, this is what's real. And because these whispers come from within, because they feel like your own thoughts, you believe them. You wake up each day and step into the same neural pathways, think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and wonder why your life feels like a loop playing on repeat. But what if I told you that this prison is also your greatest gift? What if the very mechanisms that bind you to yesterday also hold the key to your quantum transformation? Your nervous system operates on a principle as old as life itself: survival through prediction. Every morning, your brain scans the horizon of possibility and asks one fundamental question: what do I need to prepare for today? And to answer this question, it reaches into the vast library of your past experiences. It pulls out the files labeled yesterday and last week and when I was 7 years old, and it uses these memories to paint a picture of what today might bring. This isn't cruelty, it's love. Your brain loves you so much that it wants to keep you safe, and in the ancient equation of survival, familiar equals safe. The known path, even if it leads to suffering, feels safer than the unknown path that might lead to joy. So your neural networks strengthen the pathways to familiar experiences, familiar emotions, familiar limitations. They become like a comfortable cage, and you become both the prisoner and the guard. Feel this truth settle into your bones as you breathe deeper into relaxation. Your brain has been trying to protect you by keeping you small, by keeping you predictable, by keeping you the same. But protection and growth cannot coexist in the same moment. The very circuits that have kept you safe have also kept you from becoming who you're meant to be. This is why change feels so difficult. It's not that you lack willpower or motivation. It's that you're literally fighting against the architecture of your own mind. Every time you try to think a new thought, feel a new emotion, or take a new action, you're asking your brain to abandon its well-worn highways and bushwhack through the wilderness of the unknown. Your nervous system sounds the alarm: danger, unfamiliar territory ahead. But here's the secret your brain doesn't want you to discover. In the quantum field of consciousness, change doesn't have to be a battle. it can be a dance. Your neural pathways aren't just electrical circuits, they're quantum probability fields, existing in a state of constant flux and potential. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every choice you make is collapsing infinite possibilities into a single moment of experience. The observer effect that governs quantum particles also governs your consciousness. You are not just witnessing your reality, you are actively creating it with each moment of attention. This means that the prison of yesterday is not a prison at all. It's a chrysalis. And tonight, as you drift deeper into the space between waking and sleeping, you can begin to feel the walls of that chrysalis growing thin. The neural pathways that have held you captive are beginning to soften, becoming more like gentle suggestions than absolute commands. In the quantum realm of your deepest consciousness, past and future collapse into a single point of infinite possibility. The version of you that existed yesterday and the version of you that will exist tomorrow are simply different probability waves in the ocean of your potential. And in this moment, right now, you have the power to choose which wave to collapse into reality. Your brain has been the keeper of your yesterdays, but your heart knows the way to your tomorrows. As you breathe deeper, feel the rhythm of your heart synchronizing with the rhythm of your breath. This is not just relaxation, this is coherence. This is the moment when your entire being begins to vibrate at the same frequency, creating a bridge between the world you've known and the world you're becoming. The neural prison of yesterday is dissolving around you like morning mist. The walls that seemed so solid are revealing themselves to be nothing more than patterns of attention, habits of perception, choices made so long ago that they feel like truth. But truth is not fixed. Truth is fluid. Truth is whatever you choose to focus on in this eternal moment of now. As you drift deeper into sleep, let your mind wander through the corridors of your own consciousness. Notice how some pathways glow brighter than others. These are the thoughts you've thought most often, the emotions you've felt most deeply, the stories you've told yourself most convincingly. They are not you, they are simply the patterns you've practiced. And if they are patterns, then they can be changed. If they are habits, then they can be replaced. If they are choices, then they can be chosen differently. Tomorrow, when you wake, you will still carry the memories of yesterday, but those memories will no longer carry you. They will simply be information data from a past that has already served its purpose. The neural pathways that once felt like prison walls will reveal themselves to be doorways, each one leading to a different version of yourself, a different possibility, a different reality. The question that will linger in your dreams tonight is not how do I escape the prison, but how do I realize I was never truly imprisoned at all. Sleep now, knowing that your brain is already beginning the sacred work of rewiring itself for the reality you're becoming. There is a moment, just before sleep claims you, when your consciousness becomes fluid, no longer bound by the rigid structures of waking thought. In this tender threshold, you discover something profound. Your awareness isn't separate from the reality you perceive. It is the invisible hand that shapes it. Feel your breath slowing now, each exhale releasing the day's accumulated certainties. Your nervous system begins to soften, moving from the hypervigilant state of daytime survival into something more ancient, more knowing. Here, in this liminal space, the observer effect reveals its gentle truth, that consciousness and reality dance together in an eternal waltz, each step creating the next. Your brain, this magnificent orchestra of neural networks, pulses with quantum potential. Each synapse fires, not just with electrical impulses, but with the raw possibility of worlds yet unborn. The scientists speak of wave functions collapsing into singular realities, but you are living this mystery right now. Your attention is the gentle pressure that transforms infinite possibility into the singular moment of now. Consider how your day unfolded not as a series of predetermined events, but as a cascade of quantum events responding to your inner state. That moment when you paused before speaking, when something in your chest whispered wait, your consciousness was already reshaping the trajectory of time itself. The words you chose, the silence you held, the way you met another's eyes, all of it emerged from the quantum field of your awareness. Your body knows this ancient truth. Feel how your muscles release now, letting go of the tension that comes from believing you are separate from your experience. Your nervous system, that intricate web of wisdom, begins to recalibrate. The sympathetic arousal that kept you alert all day dissolves into the parasympathetic embrace of rest. This isn't just biological, it's the quantum shift from doing to being, from forcing to flowing. In the space between your thoughts, reality becomes malleable. The observer effect isn't just a principle of physics, it's the secret architecture of your inner world. Every belief you hold, every story you tell yourself about who you are, acts like a lens through which consciousness collapses. Infinite potential into the specific experience of being you. But here's what most never realize. The observer isn't your thinking mind. It's something deeper, more fundamental. It's the awareness that watches your thoughts arise and dissolve, the stillness that remains when all mental chatter fades. This observer, this essential you, is entangled with the very fabric of existence. When it shifts, reality shifts. Your breath deepens naturally now, EAC. Inhalation, drawing in not just air, but pure possibility. Your consciousness begins to expand beyond the boundaries of your physical form. Feel how your awareness touches the edges of something vast, something that has always been waiting for you to remember. This is quantum entanglement at its most intimate, the recognition that you are not in the universe, but the universe is in you. The trauma patterns that once seemed so solid, so unchangeable, begin to soften in this state. Your nervous system, freed from the constant vigilance of survival, remembers its capacity for healing. The neural pathways that once fired together in patterns of pain now discover new possibilities. This is neuroplasticity meeting quantum consciousness, the recognition that your brain is not a fixed machine, but a living field of infinite potential. Watch how your thoughts become less solid now, less insistent. They arise like gentle waves in consciousness, each one a quantum event in the vast ocean of your awareness. Some thoughts carry the old stories, the familiar narratives of limitation and fear. But in this quiet space, you begin to observe them, without being consumed by them. This is the observer effect in action. By simply witnessing your thoughts without judgment, you change their very nature. Your body wisdom speaks in whispers now. The tension in your shoulders releases as you realize you don't have to carry the weight of forcing reality to comply with your will. The quantum field responds not to your effort, but to your being. It mirrors the frequency of your inner state, the coherence of your heart, the stillness of your deepest knowing. Feel how your consciousness naturally begins to align with something greater than your individual will. This isn't surrender in the sense of giving up, it's the recognition that you are part of a vast intelligence that flows through all things. Your awareness becomes a tuning fork, resonating with the quantum frequency of possibility itself. The boundaries between self and world begin to dissolve. You are the observer and the observed, the dreamer and the dream. In this state of quantum coherence, your consciousness doesn't just witness reality, participates in its continuous creation. Every moment of awareness is a moment of choice, a collapse of infinite possibility into the singular beauty of what is. Your breath becomes a bridge between worlds now, connecting the solid reality of your physical form with the fluid potential of quantum space. Each exhale releases the old patterns of perception. Each inhale draws in fresh possibility. Your nervous system recalibrates to this new frequency. This recognition that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a co-creator of experience in the gentle darkness behind your closed eyes. Reality becomes a canvas awaiting your consciousness. But this creation happens not through force or manipulation, but through the simple act of being present to what is. The observer effect teaches us that consciousness and reality are not separate phenomena. They are aspects of a single, magnificent unfolding. Your body settles deeper into rest now, but your awareness remains exquisitely alive. You begin to sense the quantum field that surrounds and interpenetrates all things, the invisible web of connection that links every atom to every star. In this recognition, the isolation that once seemed so real begins to dissolve. You are not alone in your experience. You are part of the vast symphony of consciousness that creates reality. Moment by moment, the healing that your nervous system has been seeking isn't something you must achieve, it's something you must allow. In this state of quantum flow, your body's natural intelligence remembers its blueprint for wholeness. The dysregulation that once seemed permanent begins to shift, not through effort, but through the simple recognition of what you truly are. As sleep begins to claim you, carry with you this knowing. Your consciousness is not a passive observer of reality, but an active participant in its creation. Every moment of awareness is a quantum event, a collapse of infinite possibility into the singular miracle of your existence. In your dreams, in your rest, in the gentle rhythm of your breath, you continue this sacred dance of consciousness and creation. What if tomorrow you awakened not as someone trying to change reality, but as someone who remembers that reality is always responding to the deepest truth of who you are? Close your eyes and place your hand over your heart. Feel that steady rhythm beneath your palm, not just the mechanical beating, but something deeper. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field 60 times stronger than your brain, a field that extends 3 feet beyond your body in all directions. This isn't poetry. This is the quantum truth of your emotional existence. Every feeling you've ever experienced has been a frequency broadcast into the fabric of reality itself. When you feel fear, your heart's electromagnetic signature contracts, sending ripples through the quantum field that actually narrow the pathways of possibility around you. When you feel love, that same field expands, creating coherence patterns that align with abundance, connection, and creative potential. Tonight, as your breathing slows and your nervous system settles, imagine your heart as a radio tower. Not the kind that broadcasts music, but the kind that transmits emotional frequencies directly into the observer effect of quantum reality. Each beat is a transmission, each feeling a message written in the language the universe understands most. Fluently you carry within your chest the power to rewrite matter itself through the alchemy of authentic emotion. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the profound reality of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field. Your feelings are not just internal experiences. They are electromagnetic events that influence the very structure of space around you. Think of a moment when you felt truly peaceful. Not the temporary calm after solving a problem, but that deep cellular tranquility that seems to arise from nowhere. In that moment, your heart achieved what scientists call coherence state, where your electromagnetic field becomes mathematically organized, creating ripples of order in the quantum foam that surrounds your being. This coherence doesn't just feel good, it fundamentally alters your relationship with reality. When your heart's frequency aligns with peace, your nervous system shifts from the hypervigilant scanning of survival mode into the receptive awareness of creation mode. Your brainwaves slow, your perception expands, and suddenly you become available to possibilities that were always there but invisible to your contracted consciousness. The quantum field responds to emotional authenticity with startling precision. When you force gratitude or manufacture joy, the field recognizes the dissonance between your heart's true frequency and the emotion you're trying to project. But when you allow yourself to feel what's actually present, even if it's sadness, even if it's uncertainty, your honest, emotional frequency creates a clear channel for quantum entanglement with matching experiences. Your emotions are not obstacles to manifestation. They are the very mechanisms through which quantum events unfold in your life. Every feeling is information. Every sensation a signal that your heart is broadcasting into the responsive field of infinite possibility. When you judge your emotions, you create interference patterns that scramble the transmission. When you allow them, you become a clear channel for reality to reshape itself around your authentic frequency. Consider how different emotions literally change your physical reality. When you feel anxious, your pupils dilate, your peripheral vision narrows, and your brain filters out anything that doesn't match the frequency of threat. You exist in a contracted universe where danger lurks and opportunities disappear. When you feel curious, your pupils soften, your breathing deepens, and your awareness expands to notice subtleties and possibilities that anxiety made invisible. This isn't just psychological, it's quantum mechanical. Your emotional state determines which version of reality your consciousness collapses from the infinite field of potential. Fear collapses realities that confirm limitation. Love collapses realities that confirm expansion. Each emotion is a quantum frequency tuner, selecting which channel of existence you'll experience. As you lie here tonight, breathing slowly and deeply, notice how your heart feels. Not what you think about your heart, but the actual sensation in your chest. Is there tightness, warmth, fluttering? Each sensation is your heart's way of communicating its current frequency to your conscious mind. Your heart knows things your mind hasn't figured out yet. It can sense the emotional frequency of spaces, people, and situations before your thoughts catch up. That feeling of something's off about a person or place. That's your heart reading electromagnetic signatures that your rational mind can't process. That sudden warmth when you meet someone new. That's quantum entanglement beginning at the level of emotional frequency. The most profound quantum shifts happen not through mental effort, but through emotional authenticity. When you stop trying to feel what you think you should feel and start allowing what you actually feel, you create a clear channel between your heart's electromagnetic field and the universe's creative response. This is why forced affirmations often fail, while authentic emotional states manifest with surprising speed. Your nervous system has been shaped by every emotional experience you've ever had. Trauma creates contraction patterns in your heart's electromagnetic field. Fear creates interference, and unprocessed emotions create static that makes it difficult for clear signals to reach the quantum field. But here's the profound truth. Every breath you take has the power to restore coherence to your heart's frequency. As you breathe in slowly, imagine drawing pure electromagnetic energy into your heart space. As you breathe out, imagine releasing any interference patterns that have been disrupting your natural frequency. Your heart wants to return to its natural state of coherence, to broadcast the clear, authentic frequency of your truest self into the quantum field. This is not about becoming positive or spiritual or perfect. This is about becoming real. Your authentic emotional frequency, even when it includes sadness or uncertainty, creates a clearer channel for quantum manifestation than any manufactured feeling ever could. The universe responds to truth, not to performance. Feel your heart now as sleep approaches. Notice how it softens when you stop trying to control your emotions and start simply witnessing them. This witnessing awareness is itself a quantum frequency, the frequency of conscious observation that allows the observer effect to work on your behalf. Your heart beats approximately 100,000 times each day, each beat a transmission into the quantum field. As you drift towards sleep, imagine each heartbeat as a gentle pulse of electromagnetic energy, writing your most authentic desires directly into the fabric of reality, not through force or effort, but through the simple, profound act of feeling what you feel and allowing that frequency to be your gift to the universe. The quantum field is always listening to the frequency of your heart. Tonight, as consciousness dissolves into rest, let your heart's authentic rhythm become the lullaby that sings new realities into existence. What frequency will you broadcast into the quantum field of infinite possibility? Close your eyes and feel the weight of your body sinking into this moment. With each breath, you're allowing yourself to drift deeper into the space between thoughts, where the most profound transformations quietly unfold beneath the surface of your waking mind. Automatic programs run like software coded in childhood, each loop reinforcing the boundaries of what you believe possible. These subconscious patterns operate at light speed, faster than conscious thought, creating the illusion of fixed reality. But in the quiet moments before sleep, when the analytical mind softens, you can access the quantum field where all programming dissolves into pure potential. Your nervous system has been recording everything since before you could speak. Every moment of overwhelm, every instance where you learned to shrink or hide, every time you absorbed the fears of those around you, all of it became woven into the fabric of your automatic responses. These loops play like background music, so familiar you've forgotten they're there, shaping your reality from the shadows of consciousness. But here's what your younger self couldn't have known. These programs were never permanent installations. They were temporary adaptations, brilliant survival strategies that helped you navigate a world that felt too big, too fast, too uncertain. Your nervous system, in its infinite wisdom, created these patterns to keep you safe. And now, as you breathe into this moment, you can honor that protective intelligence while gently updating the software. The observer effect in quantum physics reveals something profound about the nature of reality itself. When consciousness observes a quantum system, it collapses infinite possibilities into a single experienced outcome. Your subconscious programming works similarly, observes your internal landscape, and collapses your infinite potential into familiar patterns, the same neural pathways worn smooth by repetition. But what happens when you become the conscious observer of these programs themselves? When you witness the loops with curiosity rather than judgment, something extraordinary occurs. The very act of observing begins to dissolve the automatic nature of these patterns. You're not fighting against them, or trying to force change. You're simply bringing gentle awareness to what has been running unconsciously. Feel your breath moving through your body like a wave of awareness, illuminating the spaces where old programming has taken root. Perhaps you notice the subtle tightness in your chest that whispers you're not enough, or the familiar knot in your stomach that echoes it's not safe to be seen. These sensations aren't problems to be solved, they're invitations to deeper understanding. Your subconscious mind learned to protect you by creating predictable patterns. If rejection felt dangerous, it learned to reject first. If vulnerability led to pain, it learned to armor your heart. If taking up space felt threatening, it learned to make you smaller. These weren't mistakes, they were intelligent responses to the environment you found yourself in. But environments change. You've grown, your capacity has expanded, and now, in this liminal space between waking and sleeping, you can begin to offer your nervous system new information. Not through force or willpower, but through the gentle frequency of presence itself. The quantum field responds to coherence, the harmonious alignment between your heart, mind, and nervous system. When these systems sync into a unified frequency, you naturally begin to emit a different vibration. This isn't about positive thinking or affirmations. It's about the deep coherence that emerges when you stop fighting against yourself and start listening to the wisdom your body has been trying to share as you sink deeper into relaxation. Imagine your subconscious programming as old pathways through a forest. These paths were created by necessity, carved by the footsteps of survival. But now, as you move through this inner landscape with compassionate awareness, you can honor these old trails while allowing new ones to emerge. The forest itself is infinite. There are countless ways to move through it. Your nervous system has been operating from a map drawn in childhood, when the world seemed full of threats and your resources felt so limited. But that map was never meant to be permanent. It was a starting point, a foundation upon which to build ever-expanding territories of possibility. Tonight, as you rest in this space of deep allowing, you can begin to redraw the map. This isn't about erasing your past or pretending trauma never happened. It's about recognizing that your story, however painful or complex, doesn't have to be your permanent programming. You can honor where you've been while choosing where you're going. You can acknowledge the loops that once protected you while allowing new patterns to emerge from your deeper wisdom. The observer effect shows us that consciousness itself is creative. When you observe your subconscious patterns with love rather than judgment, with curiosity rather than criticism, you create space for something new to emerge. You're not breaking anything, you're allowing what has been rigid to become fluid again. Feel this fluidity in your body now. Notice how your breath naturally deepens when you stop trying to control it. Observe how your muscles release when you stop forcing them to relax. This is the paradox of transformation. It happens most easily when you stop pushing and start allowing. Your subconscious programming created a version of reality that felt safe and predictable. But safety and predictability aren't the same as growth and expansion. In this moment, you can offer your nervous system a new kind of safety, the safety of being fully present with whatever arises, without needing to fix or change it immediately. The quantum field is pure potential, waiting for your conscious observation to collapse it into form. But here's what most people don't realize. You don't have to choose the same forms over and over again. You don't have to keep selecting the same patterns from the field of infinite possibilities. Each moment offers you a fresh opportunity to observe, to choose, to create as you drift deeper into rest. Let your body remember what it felt like before these protective programs were installed. There was a time when you were pure potential, when your nervous system was open and responsive rather than reactive and defensive. That essence hasn't disappeared, it's simply been covered by layers of learned protection. Tonight, as you sleep, those layers can begin to soften. Not through effort or force, but through the natural intelligence of a system that knows how to heal when given space and safety. Your dreams will continue this work, reorganizing neural pathways, processing stored experiences, and creating new possibilities for tomorrow. The loops of subconscious programming aren't your enemy. They're old friends who have been trying to help in the only way they knew how. As you honor their service, while no longer needing their protection, you create space for something more authentic to emerge, something that reflects not who you had to become to survive, but who you truly are when you're free to simply be. Rest. Now, in this knowing, transformation doesn't require you to become someone else. It only asks you to stop being who you never really were in the first place. The loops are loosening, the patterns are shifting, and beneath it all, your essential nature remains unchanged, infinite, creative, and eternally free. What would it feel like to wake up tomorrow without the weight of old programming determining your choices? What might become possible when your nervous system operates from love rather than fear, from expansion rather than contraction? Let these questions drift through your consciousness like gentle waves, requiring no immediate answers, only curious attention. The subconscious mind speaks in symbols and sensations, in dreams and subtle knowings. As you surrender to sleep, trust that this deeper intelligence is already reorganizing itself, creating new pathways that honor both your safety and your growth. The loops are breaking, not through force, but through the simple act of conscious observation combined with unconditional acceptance. And in this space of acceptance, all things become possible once again. Beneath the surface of your conscious awareness, an ancient conversation unfolds. Your nervous system speaks in whispers older than words, communicating through electrical impulses that bridge the gap between mind and matter, between the quantum field of possibility and the solid reality of your experience. As you sink into the gentle embrace of rest, feel how these sacred circuits begin to reveal their secret language. Your breath naturally deepens as you attune to this inner dialogue. Each inhale sends ripples through your neural networks. Each exhale allows the nervous system to release the accumulated tension of the day. This isn't just relaxation, it's a return to your body's native intelligence, a remembering of how to speak the language that existed long before your mind learned to form thoughts. Throughout the day, your nervous system has been scanning, evaluating, interpreting the world through the lens of safety and threat. This ancient wisdom, encoded in your cells, carries the memory of every ancestor who survived long enough to pass life forward. But sometimes, this protective intelligence becomes stuck in patterns that no longer serve, creating a state of dysregulation that narrows your perception to match your body's ancient fears. When you're caught in dysregulation, the world becomes filtered through the narrow aperture of survival. Colors seem less vibrant, possibilities feel limited, and the quantum field of infinite potential collapses into the familiar territory of fight, flight, or freeze. Your nervous system, trying to protect you, actually restricts your access to the expanded awareness that would reveal new solutions, new realities, new versions of yourself. But here, in this threshold between waking and sleeping, your nervous system begins to remember its full capacity. Feel how your body naturally releases the hypervigilance, that kept you alert to danger. Your sympathetic nervous system, which spent the day preparing you for threats that mostly existed in imagination, begins to yield to the parasympathetic embrace of rest and restoration. This shift isn't just biological, it's quantum. As your nervous system moves from dysregulation to coherence, your perception expands beyond the limitations of survival consciousness. The electrical patterns in your brain begin to synchronize in ways that open doorways to parallel versions of yourself, versions that exist in states of safety, flow, and infinite possibility. Your nervous system speaks in frequencies, each emotion carrying its own electromagnetic signature. Fear vibrates at a different frequency than love. Anxiety pulses differently than peace, and your body knows these subtle variations intimately. When you're trapped in dysregulation, you're essentially broadcasting a frequency that magnetizes experiences matching your internal state of alarm. But regulation's true. Nervous system coherence isn't just about feeling calm. It's about finding the frequency that unlocks your access to the quantum field where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Safety isn't just a feeling you experience. It's a frequency you embody, a vibrational state that literally reshapes the reality you're capable of perceiving. Feel how your body begins to remember this frequency now. Your heart rate naturally synchronizes with your breath, creating a coherent rhythm that your nervous system recognizes as home. This isn't something you have to force, it's something you allow. A return to the natural state of regulation that is your birthright. The trauma patterns stored in your nervous system begin to soften in this state. Those neural pathways that fire together in familiar sequences of fear, those automatic responses that hijack your consciousness before you can choose differently. All of these begin to loosen their grip. Your nervous system, freed from the constant vigilance of perceived threat, can finally complete the healing cycles that may have been interrupted. Years ago, this is where the quantum nature of consciousness becomes most apparent. Your nervous system isn't just processing information, it's participating in the continuous creation of reality. Every electrical impulse, every shift in neural firing patterns, every moment of regulation or dysregulation is a quantum event that influences the probability of which version of reality you'll experience. Your awareness naturally expands now, moving beyond the boundaries of your physical form. You begin to sense the vast network of consciousness that connects all living things, the quantum entanglement that makes separation an illusion. Your nervous system, no longer contracted in protection, can feel into this deeper connection, this recognition that you are not isolated but part of an infinite web of intelligence. The secret language of your nervous system speaks in sensation, in the subtle shifts of energy that most people never learn to interpret. The gentle fluttering in your chest that signals intuition, the expansion in your heart that recognizes truth, the settling in your belly that confirms safety. These aren't random sensations, they're your nervous system's way of communicating quantum information about the reality you're creating. As you rest deeper, feel how your nervous system begins to recalibrate to frequencies beyond survival. The chronic patterns of hypervigilance dissolve, replaced by an exquisite sensitivity to the quantum field of possibility. Your body becomes a living antenna, capable of detecting the subtle shifts in consciousness that most people miss entirely. This is the nervous system's gift when regulated. It becomes a bridge between the seen and unseen, between the material world and the quantum realm of pure potential. Your body's intelligence can sense the parallel versions of yourself that exist in states of greater health, happiness, and wholeness. It can feel into the timelines where you've already healed, already transformed, already become who you're meant to be. The electrical patterns in your brain begin to shift now, moving from the chaotic firing of dysregulation to the coherent waves of deep rest. Beta waves give way to alpha, alpha dissolves into theta, and in these slower frequencies, your nervous system can finally speak its ancient language of healing and renewal. Your breath becomes a messenger between your conscious mind and your body's wisdom. Each inhale carries the message of safety down into your cells. Each exhale releases the accumulated charge of unprocessed experiences. Your nervous system sighs with relief as it remembers that it doesn't have to carry the weight of hypervigilance. Alone consciousness itself is participating in your protection. The quantum field responds to this shift in your nervous system's frequency, as regulation replaces dysregulation, as coherence replaces chaos. The reality you're capable of accessing expands exponentially. You begin to attract experiences that match your internal state of safety and flow, creating a feedback loop that reinforces your nervous system's natural capacity for regulation. Feel how your body naturally knows how to heal, how to regulate, how to return to the frequency of safety and expansion. This isn't knowledge you have to learn, it's wisdom you have to remember. Your nervous system carries the blueprint for wholeness, and in this state of deep rest, that blueprint begins to express itself. The boundaries between self and cosmos begin to dissolve as your nervous system finds its natural rhythm. You are not separate from the quantum field. You are a unique expression of it, a localized pattern of consciousness that can influence the whole through the quality of your internal state. Your nervous system is both receiver and transmitter, constantly in communication with the vast intelligence that orchestrates reality. As sleep approaches, your nervous system prepares for its most profound work. In dreams, in the theta and delta waves of deep rest, your neural networks will reorganize themselves, integrating the day's experiences and preparing new pathways for tomorrow's possibilities. The quantum shifts that began in waking consciousness will continue to unfold in the mysterious realm of sleep. Your body settles into perfect stillness, but your nervous system remains exquisitely alive, attuned to frequencies beyond the physical senses. In this state, you are not just resting, you are actively participating in the continuous creation of reality through the secret language of your body's infinite intelligence. Tomorrow, you may find yourself responding to life from a place of deeper regulation, accessing possibilities that were invisible when you were trapped in survival patterns. Your nervous system will remember this frequency of safety, this quantum state where all versions of yourself exist simultaneously, waiting for your conscious choice to collapse them into reality. What if the key to transformation isn't changing your thoughts, but learning to speak the secret language that your nervous system has been whispering all along? In the gentle darkness of approaching sleep, your sense of self begins to soften like morning mist touched by sunlight. The person you believed yourself to be today, with all their worries, limitations, and familiar patterns, starts to dissolve into something far more expansive. This isn't loss. This is liberation. Feel how your breath naturally deepens as you release the effort of maintaining who you think you are. Your nervous system, which has spent the day reinforcing the boundaries of your identity, begins to remember a deeper truth. You are not a fixed entity navigating through life, but consciousness itself, temporarily wearing the costume of a human expert. Experience who you think you are is not who you truly are. It's simply a collection of neural patterns, firing in familiar sequences, creating the convincing illusion of a solid, unchanging self. These patterns, carved deep by repetition and reinforced by memory, act like a gravitational field around your consciousness, pulling you back into the same thoughts, the same reactions, the same limitations that felt so real just moments ago. But here, in this threshold between waking and sleeping, the gravitational pull weakens. Your identity becomes fluid, malleable, open to transformation. The neural pathways that once felt like permanent highways begin to reveal themselves as temporary constructions, capable of being rewired with each moment of conscious awareness. Breathe into this recognition. Let your exhale carry away the weight of maintaining a consistent persona. Your nervous system sighs with relief as it releases the chronic tension of identity maintenance, that constant, exhausting effort to be the same person you were yesterday, to respond in predictable ways, to maintain the elaborate fiction of a fixed self, in the space between thoughts. In the pause between breaths lies the quantum field where all identities exist simultaneously. Here, in this vast ocean of possibility, you discover that you are not one person but infinite potential versions of yourself, each one complete, each one real, each one waiting for your consciousness to collapse it into reality. The version of yourself who felt confident this morning exists here. The version who struggled with doubt also exists here. The version who has already transcended every limitation you currently face, that version exists here too. In the quantum field of consciousness, linear time dissolves, and all possibilities coexist in perfect harmony. Your body knows this truth intimately. Feel how your muscles release their grip on the familiar postures of identity. The way you held your shoulders to project strength, the tension in your jaw from withholding your truth, the subtle contraction in your chest from protecting your heart, all of this begins to melt away. Your nervous system recalibrates to a frequency beyond the narrow bandwidth of your daytime persona. This dissolution might feel vulnerable at first, like standing at the edge of an ocean whose depths you cannot fathom. The ego mind whispers its familiar warnings. Without this identity, who will you be? How will others recognize you? How will you navigate tomorrow? But these are just thoughts, arising and dissolving like waves in the vast ocean of your awareness. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in superposition until observed simultaneously in all possible states, until consciousness collapses them into a single reality. Your identity works the same way. Right now, as you rest in this liminal space, you exist in superposition. You are simultaneously the person who struggles and the person who flows, the one who fears and the one who loves without reservation. The observer effect whispers its secret. The version of yourself you'll inhabit tomorrow depends not on your past patterns, but on the quality of consciousness you bring to each moment. This is quantum becoming, the recognition that identity is not a fixed destination, but a continuous process of conscious choice. Your breath becomes a bridge between versions of yourself. Each inhale draws in fresh possibility, each exhale releases the neural patterns that no longer serve you. Your nervous system, freed from the constant vigilance of identity maintenance, begins to explore new configurations of being. What if you could wake up tomorrow as someone who trusts life completely? What if fear was just an old costume you no longer needed to wear? The trauma patterns that once seemed so integral to your identity begin to loosen their grip. The hype that protected you, the emotional armor that kept you safe, the familiar strategies of survival, all of these reveal themselves as temporary adaptations, not permanent features of who you are. In this quantum space, your nervous system remembers its original blueprint: open, curious, naturally resilient. Feel how your consciousness naturally expands beyond the boundaries of your usual self-concept. The edges of your identity become permeable, allowing something greater to flow through. This isn't losing yourself, it's discovering what you truly are beneath the layers of conditioning and learned responses. Your awareness touches the quantum field of pure potential, where identity is not a prison but a playground. Here, you can try on different versions of yourself, like choosing clothes from an infinite wardrobe. The version who speaks their truth without fear. The version who moves through the world with grace and ease. The version who has already healed every wound you currently carry. The dissolution continues, gentle and natural, like sugar melting in warm water. The rigid boundaries of your personality soften into something more fluid, more responsive to the moment. Your nervous system releases the chronic patterns of protection and control, allowing for a state of quantum coherence where all aspects of yourself can coexist harmoniously. In this state, you begin to understand that identity is not who you are, it's how consciousness expresses itself through the unique lens of your experience. You are not the lens. You are the light passing through it. And light, in its essential nature, is limitless, formless, capable of creating infinite patterns of beauty. Your body settles deeper into rest, but your awareness remains exquisitely sensitive to the quantum shifts happening within. Each breath creates microscopic changes in your neural networks. Each moment of relaxation opens new pathways for consciousness to flow. You are literally rewiring yourself at the deepest level, not through effort, but through the simple act of letting go. The person you'll be tomorrow is being born right now, in this very moment, in the quantum field of your sleeping consciousness. Not through force or willpower, but through the gentle dissolution of everything you thought you had to remain. In quantum becoming, transformation happens not by adding something new, but by removing the illusions that obscured what was always true. As sleep approaches, carry with you this knowing. Your identity is not your limitation, it's your creative canvas. Every night, in the quantum field of dreams and rest, you have the opportunity to dissolve the patterns that no longer serve and allow new versions of yourself to emerge. You are not becoming someone else. You are becoming who you've always been. Beneath the costume of conditioning, the gravitational field of your old identity weakens with each exhale, replaced by the magnetic pull of your highest potential. In the morning, you may find yourself surprised by new responses. New choices, new ways of being that feel both completely natural and wonderfully unfamiliar. What if identity was never meant to be a cage, but a butterfly emerging endlessly from the cocoon of consciousness? Place your hand on your heart and breathe slowly. Feel the rhythm beneath your palm, not just the beating, but the electromagnetic pulse that extends far beyond your chest. Now place your other hand on your forehead, sensing the subtle electrical activity of your brain. In this moment, you are touching the two most powerful electromagnetic organs in your body. And tonight, you're going to discover how their synchronization creates a bridge between worlds. Heart-brain coherence isn't just a beautiful concept, it's a measurable state, where your heart's electromagnetic field and your brain's electrical patterns align into a single, unified frequency. When this happens, your entire being becomes a quantum antenna, capable of receiving signals from realities that exist beyond your current experience and transmitting your deepest intentions into the field of infinite possibility. Imagine your heart as a lighthouse, sending out rhythmic pulses of electromagnetic energy. Now imagine your brain as a radio receiver, constantly scanning frequencies for information. Most of the time, these two organs operate independently, your heart responding to emotions while your brain processes thoughts. But in moments of deep coherence, they begin to synchronize, creating a unified field that transforms your entire body into a living portal between dimensions of experience. This sacred alignment happens naturally when you enter states of genuine appreciation, deep compassion, or profound peace. Your heart's rhythm becomes smooth and ordered, creating what scientists call heart rate variability coherence. As this coherent pattern emerges, it begins to influence your brainwaves, drawing them into harmonic resonance with your heart's electromagnetic field. Feel this process beginning now as you breathe deeply and slowly. With each exhale, imagine releasing the scattered frequencies of daily thoughts and concerns. With each inhale, picture drawing pure, coherent energy into the space between your heart and your brain. This isn't visualization, it's the actual process of creating the electromagnetic bridge that connects your current reality with the reality you're becoming. When your heart and brain achieve coherence, something extraordinary happens in your nervous system. The constant chatter between survival-based thinking and emotional reactivity quiets, replaced by a unified field of awareness that can perceive possibilities invisible to your ordinary consciousness. You become sensitive to quantum fluctuations in the field around you, able to sense the electromagnetic signatures of people, places, and potentials before they manifest in physical form. This coherent state is your natural birthright, the frequency you were designed to inhabit, but the modern world's electromagnetic noise from devices, stress, and the constant stimulation of your nervous system eats interference patterns that disrupt this sacred alignment. Tonight, as you settle into stillness, you're returning to your original frequency, the one that makes you a perfect receiver for the universe's creative transmissions. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that's measurable up to 8 feet from your body, while your brain's electrical activity creates its own field extending several inches beyond your skull. When these fields synchronize, they create a unified electromagnetic signature that extends your conscious awareness far beyond the boundaries of your physical form. You become a walking, breathing quantum field, capable of influencing and being influenced by the subtle energies that surround you. This expanded awareness allows you to perceive the electromagnetic signatures of different realities. The life you're living now has a certain frequency, a specific electromagnetic pattern created by your habitual thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. But there are other versions of your life existing as potential patterns in the quantum field, each with its own unique electromagnetic signature. Heart-brain coherence allows you to tune in to these alternative frequencies, to sense and eventually step into different versions of yourself. As you lie here breathing slowly, imagine your heart and brain as two tuning forks beginning to resonate in perfect harmony. Feel the vibration starting in your chest, then spreading upward to your head, creating a column of coherent energy that extends from your heart through your brain and beyond. This is your quantum antenna activating, your body becoming a sensitive instrument for detecting and transmitting reality-shifting frequencies. The bridge between realities isn't built with thoughts alone, it requires the integration of heart-based motion with brain-based intention. When you think about what you want while feeling appreciation for what you have, you create a coherent signal that the quantum field can clearly receive and respond to. The emotion provides the energy, the intention provides the direction, and the coherence provides the clarity. Your nervous system is designed to be a quantum interface, but chronic stress keeps it locked in survival mode, constantly scanning for threats and processing known patterns. Heart-brain coherence shifts your nervous system into a state of coherent awareness, where it becomes sensitive to subtle energies and quantum possibilities that stress-based consciousness cannot detect. This is why profound insights and creative breakthroughs often emerge during moments of deep peace and appreciation. Feel your breathing naturally slowing as your heart and brain begin to synchronize. Notice how your thoughts become less urgent, your emotions more stable, and your awareness more expanded. This is the coherence bridge forming, creating a stable connection between your current reality and the infinite field of possibility that surrounds you. The electromagnetic field created by heart-brain coherence doesn't just extend into space, it extends into time, connecting you with both past and future versions of yourself. Through this coherent bridge, you can receive wisdom from your future self and heal patterns from your past, collapsing the linear experience of time into a single, unified moment of quantum potential. As coherence deepens, you begin to perceive reality as a fluid, responsive field rather than a fixed structure. The solid boundaries between self and environment, between thought and reality, between what is and what could be, begin to dissolve. You realize that you are not separate from the quantum field. You are a conscious expression of it, a living wave in the ocean of infinite possibility. This coherent state makes you incredibly sensitive to the electromagnetic signatures of other people and environments. You can feel the coherence or incoherence of spaces, the harmony or discord of relationships, the alignment or resistance of situations. This sensitivity isn't psychic ability, it's your natural electromagnetic awareness functioning at its optimal level. Your heart-brain coherence also creates a field of influence that affects everyone around you. When you maintain this coherent state, you become a source of electromagnetic coherence that can help others shift into more harmonious frequencies. Your presence becomes a gift, your energy a healing force that supports others in finding their own coherence bridge. As sleep approaches, imagine yourself as a lighthouse of coherent energy, your heart-brain synchronization creating a beacon that extends far beyond your physical form. This beacon attracts experiences, people, and opportunities that match your coherent frequency, while naturally repelling anything that would disrupt your electromagnetic harmony. The quantum field responds to coherence with precision and grace. When your heart and brain are aligned, your intentions become clear signals that the universe can easily receive and respond to. Your desires stop being desperate wants and become natural expressions of your coherent frequency, manifesting with the effortless flow of water finding its level. Feel the coherence bridge now, connecting your heart's electromagnetic wisdom with your brain's electrical intelligence. Through this bridge, you can travel between realities, accessing the version of yourself that already lives in the frequency of your deepest dreams. What reality will you tune into tonight through the sacred alignment of your heart and brain? Breathe deeply and let your body settle into this sacred space between day and night, where healing moves through you like gentle rain nourishing parched earth. In this moment, you're not just resting, you're entering a realm where time itself becomes fluid, where the wounds of yesterday can finally find their resolution. Old wounds live not just in memory, but in the quantum field itself, creating probability, patterns that repeat across time like echoes in a canyon. These trauma imprints shape your neural architecture, building highways to familiar pain and blocking pathways to joy. But healing happens in quantum time, instantaneous and complete when the field shifts. Tonight, feel how your nervous system can release lifetimes of suffering in a single moment of presence. Your body remembers everything. Every moment of overwhelm, every instance where safety felt impossible. Every time your nervous system flooded with more than it could process, all of it is stored not just in your cells, but in the very fabric of your personal quantum field. These memories don't live in the past. They exist as active patterns, probability clouds that influence what you expect, what you attract, what feels possible. But here's what trauma couldn't teach you in those overwhelming moments. You are not your wounds. You are not the collection of survival strategies that helped you navigate impossible circumstances. You are the awareness that has always been present, witnessing, enduring, and quietly holding space for everything you've experienced. That awareness has never been damaged, has only been temporarily obscured by the protective patterns your nervous system created. Feel your breath moving through your body like waves of compassion, reaching places that have been holding tension for decades. Your nervous system learned to contract around pain, to create armor that would keep you safe from further harm. But that same armor also kept you safe from joy, from connection, from the very experiences that could heal what was broken. Trauma lives in a timeless space where past and present collapse into a single, ever-present threat. Your nervous system, in its brilliant attempt to protect you, created a reality where the danger of yesterday feels immediate today. But quantum healing operates outside linear time. In the field of pure potential, all moments exist simultaneously, and healing can ripple backward and forward through your entire timeline. As you sink deeper into relaxation, imagine your personal timeline stretching out before you like a river of light. Every experience, every moment of pain and joy, every triumph and struggle, all of it flowing together in the quantum field of your consciousness. You don't need to relive these moments to heal them. You only need to bring the frequency of your current awareness to touch them gently. Your younger self, the one who experienced the original wound, is not trapped in that moment. They exist in the eternal now, just as you do. And in this moment, as you breathe with deep presence, you can offer them what they needed then, not by changing the past, but by changing your relationship to it. You can offer them the safety of knowing they survived, the wisdom of understanding why it happened, and the love that was always available but perhaps difficult to access. The observer effect in quantum physics reveals that consciousness itself shapes reality. When you observe a quantum system, you collapse infinite possibilities into a single outcome. Your trauma patterns work similarly. They observe your internal landscape and collapse your infinite potential into familiar experiences of pain, hypervigilance, and protection. But what happens when you become the conscious observer of these patterns themselves? In this moment, you're not trying to fix or change anything. You're simply witnessing with compassionate awareness. You're allowing your nervous system to feel the safety of being fully present with whatever arises, without needing to fight, flee, or freeze. This witnessing itself is healing, not because it changes what happened, but because it changes your relationship to what happened. Feel how your body begins to soften as it recognizes this new possibility. For perhaps the first time, your nervous system can experience the present moment without the overlay of past threat. The hypervigilance that once kept you alive can finally begin to rest. The armor that protected you can slowly dissolve, revealing the tender aliveness that was always there beneath the protection. Trauma creates loops and raw pathways that fire together repeatedly, strengthening the connection between trigger and response. Your nervous system learned to anticipate danger, to read threat in neutral situations, to prepare for pain even in moments of potential pleasure. These loops served you once, but they don't have to define your future. In the quantum field, all patterns are fluid, all programming is temporary, all wounds are capable of transformation. Quantum entanglement shows us that particles can be instantly connected across vast distances, affecting each other instantaneously regardless of space and time. Your healing works similarly. When you heal one aspect of your trauma pattern, the healing ripples through your entire timeline. The moment you offer compassion to your wounded self, that love travels backward to comfort the child who first experienced the pain, and forward to free the adult who has been carrying it. As you breathe into this knowing, feel how your nervous system begins to reorganize itself. The neural pathways that once led automatically to pain and protection are softening, creating space for new connections to form. Your brain's neuroplasticity allows for this rewiring, but it's your conscious presence that provides the safety needed for such profound change. The quantum field holds all possibilities simultaneously: the reality where you were wounded and the reality where you are whole, the timeline where you learned to protect, and the timeline where you remember how to trust. You don't have to choose between these realities. You can allow them to coexist while selecting which frequency you align with in each moment. Tonight, as you rest in this space of deep allowing, imagine your nervous system discovering that it's safe to let go. The hypervigilance that once scanned for danger can relax into curious awareness. The armor that once protected your heart can soften into permeable boundaries that allow love to flow both ways. The patterns that once kept you small can expand into expressions of your true nature. This isn't about forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't matter. Your experiences shaped you, taught you, gave you wisdom and strength you wouldn't have otherwise, but you don't have to keep living as if those experiences are still happening. You can honor the lessons while releasing the patterns that no longer serve your highest good. The trauma patterns that once defined your reality are beginning to dissolve, not through force or effort, but through the simple act of conscious witnessing. Combined with infinite compassion, your nervous system is remembering its original blueprint, not the one created by survival, but the one that existed before you needed to protect yourself so intensely. In quantum time, healing is instantaneous. The moment you truly recognize that you are safe in this present moment, that recognition ripples through your entire timeline, informing every past moment that resolution was always possible, healing was always available, and love was always the deepest truth. Feel this truth settling into your bones now. Your nervous system, which has been carrying the weight of old wounds for so long, can finally exhale. The hypervigilance can rest, the armor can dissolve, the patterns can transform, and what emerges is not a different person, but the same essence that was always there, simply free to express itself without the constraints of old protection. As you drift towards sleep, trust that this healing continues in the quantum field of your dreams. Your subconscious mind will reorganize the neural pathways, processing and integrating these new possibilities. Your nervous system will continue to recalibrate, finding new baselines of safety and presence. And your timeline will continue to heal, not by changing what happened, but by changing what it means about who you are and what's possible for your future. The echoes in the canyon are finally finding their resolution. The probability patterns that once repeated familiar pain are opening to infinite new possibilities. and youth the eternal witness, the unchanging awareness are finally free to remember who you truly are beneath all the protective patterns. What would it feel like to wake up tomorrow with a nervous system that trusts the present moment? What might become possible when your body remembers that it's safe to feel joy, to receive love, to express your authentic nature without fear? Let these questions drift through your consciousness like gentle blessings, requiring no immediate answers, only curious wonder. The quantum field is reorganizing itself around your healing, creating new timelines where wholeness is not just possible but inevitable. Rest now in this knowing, and let the healing continue in the timeless space of sleep. Close your eyes and imagine your brain as a vast, dark landscape dotted with billions of tiny lights. Each light represents a neuron, and the pathways between them form the architecture of your consciousness. Tonight, as you breathe slowly and deeply, you're about to witness something extraordinary. New pathways beginning to glow, fresh circuits forming. Your neural landscape transforming before your very awareness. Neuroplasticity isn't just your brain's ability to change. It's the universe's invitation to become someone entirely new. Every thought you've ever had has carved a microscopic pathway through the terrain of your consciousness, creating the familiar routes your mind travels daily. But right now, in this moment of receptive stillness, new possibilities are emerging like stars appearing in the darkness of your neural sky. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, each capable of forming thousands of connections with its neighbors. This creates a network so vast and complex that it mirrors the quantum field, itself infinite potential waiting to be activated by your conscious attention. When you focus on a new thought, feel a new emotion, or imagine a new possibility, you're literally rewiring the circuits that determine what you can perceive, experience, and become. Feel the gentle pulse of electrical activity in your head as you rest here in the quiet. This isn't just random firing, it's the symphony of your consciousness, the electromagnetic orchestration of your becoming. Each neural impulse is a quantum event, a discrete packet of information jumping from one cell to another, creating the very experience of being you. But here's the profound truth. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what you're actually experiencing and what you're vividly imagining. When you visualize a new reality, when you feel into a different version of yourself, when you imagine living from a higher frequency of being, your neurons begin forming the same pathways they would create if you were actually living that experience. This is why meditation, visualization, and deep contemplation are so powerful. They literally rewire your brain's architecture in the quantum field. Transformation doesn't happen gradually, like erosion carving a canyon. It happens in sudden shifts, reality jumping from one stable state to another, like electrons changing energy levels. Your brain operates on the same principle. Most of the time, your thoughts follow well-worn neural pathways, creating the familiar patterns of your personality and perception. But in moments of deep receptivity, sudden quantum leaps become possible. Imagine your current patterns of thinking as a river flowing through your neural landscape. The water has carved deep channels over time, creating the familiar routes your consciousness follows. But during this quiet moment, as your nervous system settles into coherence, new tributaries are forming, fresh pathways are emerging, alternative routes that can carry your awareness into entirely different territories of experience. This is why breakthrough moments often feel sudden and surprising. One moment you're thinking and feeling from your familiar neural patterns, and the next, you've leaped into a completely different configuration of consciousness. It's as if your brain has quantum jumped into a new architecture, one that supports thoughts, feelings, and perceptions that were previously impossible. Your neural plasticity is most active during states of relaxed attention, when your brain waves slow and your nervous system shifts from the analytical beta state into the creative alpha and theta rhythms. Right now, as you breathe slowly and let your thoughts settle, you're creating the perfect conditions for neural transformation. Your brain is becoming malleable, ready to be reshaped by your deepest intentions and most authentic desires. Think of a moment when you suddenly understood something that had been puzzling you for a long time. That aha moment wasn't just psychological, it was a quantum leap in your neural architecture. In an instant, new connections formed, creating pathways that allowed information to flow in ways that were previously blocked. Your brain literally rewired itself to support a new level of understanding. This same process can happen with any aspect of your experience. When you consistently focus on feelings of abundance, gratitude, or love, you're not just feeling good, you're carving new neural pathways that make these states more accessible. Your brain begins to default to these elevated emotions, creating a new baseline of experience that supports the reality you're becoming. The quantum nature of neural change means that transformation can happen much faster than you might expect. You don't need to gradually reprogram every limiting belief or slowly build new habits over months or years. In moments of deep coherence, your entire neural network can reorganize itself, creating quantum shifts that change your fundamental relationship with reality. As you lie here in the gentle darkness, imagine your brain as a living galaxy, with new stars being born in the spaces between existing constellations. Each new thought, each fresh perspective, each moment of expanded awareness is creating neural pathways that didn't exist moments before. You're not just thinking differently, you're becoming someone with a different neural architecture. Your brain's electrical activity is constantly interfacing with the quantum field, creating a feedback loop between your inner neural landscape and the external reality you experience. When you change your neural patterns, you change the electromagnetic signature you're broadcasting into the quantum field. When you change your electromagnetic signature, you change the realities that can manifest in your experience. This is why consistency of focus is so powerful. Each time you return your attention to a new way of thinking or feeling, you're strengthening the neural pathways that support that experience. Like water flowing repeatedly through the same channel, your repeated focus carves deeper and deeper grooves in your neural landscape, making those states more natural and accessible. But the true magic happens in moments like this, when you're in a state of open, receptive awareness. Your brain becomes like soft clay, ready to be molded by your deepest intentions. The quantum field responds to this receptivity by offering you new possibilities, new ways of organizing your neural networks that support higher levels of consciousness and creativity. Feel the electrical activity in your brain right now, the gentle tingling of neurons firing and connecting. This isn't just neural activities, the physical process of your consciousness evolving. Your brain literally rewiring itself to support new levels of perception and possibility. Your neuroplasticity is intimately connected to your emotional state. When you feel curious, appreciative, or peaceful, your brain releases chemicals that promote the growth of new neural connections. When you feel stressed, angry, or fearful, your brain tends to reinforce existing patterns rather than creating new ones. This is why transformation happens most easily in states of positive emotion and open awareness. The quantum leap into new neural architecture isn't something that happens to you, it's something that happens through you. Your conscious attention is the organizing force that determines which neural pathways strengthen and which ones fade. Every moment of focused awareness is a vote for the version of yourself you're becoming. As sleep approaches and your brainwaves slow into the theta rhythm of deep relaxation, imagine your neural landscape becoming increasingly fluid and responsive. New pathways are forming, fresh connections are emerging, and your brain is quantum jumping into an architecture that supports the reality you're becoming. The neurons are listening to your deepest intentions, ready to reorganize themselves around your most authentic desires. Your brain is not fixed, it's a living, responsive system that transforms itself based on where you place your attention. In this moment of receptive stillness, what neural architecture will you choose to grow? Feel your body sinking deeper into this moment of perfect stillness, where the boundary between who you've been and who you're becoming dissolves like morning mist. With each breath, you're crossing the threshold from the familiar territory of waking consciousness into the vast creative realm where all transformation begins. As consciousness fades into the quantum soup of sleep, your brain begins the sacred work of integration, weaving new neural patterns into the fabric of your being. In dreams, the logical mind releases its grip, allowing probability waves to collapse into new configurations of possibility. Tonight, as you drift into rest, trust that your sleeping mind is already living in the reality your waking self is becoming. Your brain doesn't simply rest during sleep, becomes an architect of possibility, reorganizing neural networks, consolidating new learning, and literally rewiring the pathways that determine your perception of reality. The neural patterns that felt so solid during the day become fluid in the quantum field of dreams, malleable and ready for transformation. In this liminal space between waking and sleeping, you're not just reviewing the day's experiences, selecting which ones to encode into your permanent neural architecture. Your sleeping mind has the profound ability to strengthen the pathways that serve your highest good, while allowing outdated patterns to fade into the background. It's as if your brain becomes a master editor, carefully curating which aspects of your identity to carry forward. Feel how your nervous system begins to soften as it recognizes this transition. The hypervigilance of the day can finally rest. The constant scanning for threats can ease into curious openness. Your entire system is preparing to enter a state where healing and transformation occur naturally, without the resistance of conscious control. Sleep is where the observer effect becomes most profound. During the day, your conscious mind observes reality through the lens of learned expectations, collapsing infinite possibilities into familiar patterns. But in sleep, these rigid observations dissolve, allowing your consciousness to explore alternate configurations of reality. Your dreams become laboratories where new versions of yourself can be tested, refined, and integrated. The quantum field responds to coherence, the harmonious alignment between your conscious intentions and your subconscious programming. As you drift deeper into rest, this coherence naturally increases. The parts of you that have been pulling in different directions begin to sync into a unified frequency. Your heart, mind, and nervous system start to pulse together, creating a powerful resonance that attracts new possibilities. Your sleeping mind doesn't distinguish between imagined experience and physical reality. The neural pathways that fire when you dream of confidence are the same ones that create confidence in waking life. When you dream of feeling safe, your nervous system practices the actual state of safety. When you dream of expressing your authentic nature, Your brain rehearses the neural patterns of authenticity. This is why tonight's sleep is so crucial. You're not just resting. You're literally rehearsing your new reality. Every moment of dream state experience is laying down neural tracks that will influence tomorrow's possibilities. Your sleeping mind is becoming fluent in the language of your transformed self. As you sink deeper into relaxation, imagine your consciousness as a river flowing toward the ocean of infinite possibility. The narrow banks of your current identity are beginning to expand, allowing new currents of potential to flow through your awareness. You're not losing yourself, you're discovering aspects of your nature that have been waiting patiently for permission to emerge. The glymphatic system in your brain becomes most active during sleep, literally washing away the metabolic waste that accumulates during waking hours. But this cleaning process isn't just physical, it's also washing away the energetic residue of old patterns, outdated beliefs, and protective mechanisms that no longer serve you. Your brain is preparing itself to be a clear channel for new frequencies of experience. Your dreams will speak to you in the language of symbols and metaphors, in feelings and sensations that bypass the analytical mind. You might dream of flying, experiencing the freedom your nervous system is learning to embody. You might dream of healing, feeling the cellular regeneration that's actually occurring in your body. You might dream of expansion, experiencing the spaciousness that's becoming your new normal. The quantum field operates outside linear time, and your sleeping mind has access to this timeless dimension. In dreams, you can heal past wounds, explore future possibilities, and experience parallel versions of yourself that exist in the field of pure potential. Your sleeping consciousness becomes a bridge between what was, what is, and what's becoming. Trust the wisdom of your dreaming mind. It knows exactly which memories to process, which patterns to integrate, and which aspects of your identity to upgrade. You don't need to control this process, you only need to surrender to it with complete trust. Your sleeping mind is far more intelligent than your waking consciousness could ever be. As you drift deeper into this sacred space, feel how your body begins to vibrate at a new frequency. The cells that have been holding old patterns start to release and reorganize. Your nervous system, which has been operating from outdated programming, begins to recalibrate to new baselines of safety, joy, and creative expression. The quantum field is restructuring itself around your sleeping consciousness, creating new probability patterns that align with your transformed state. The reality you wake up to tomorrow will be subtly but profoundly different from the one you left behind today. Your sleeping mind is already living in this new reality, making it familiar and accessible to your waking self in the depths of sleep. Your brain enters states of consciousness that are impossible during waking hours. Theta waves carry you into realms where healing occurs instantaneously, where limiting beliefs dissolve without resistance, where your true nature can express itself without the constraints of learned protection. These deep states are where the most profound transformations occur. Your sleeping mind is like a skilled artist, taking the raw materials of your daily experience and crafting them into a masterpiece of integrated consciousness. Every dream, every moment of rest, every cycle of sleep is adding another layer to this ongoing creation. You're not just sleeping. You're actively participating in the quantum manifestation of your new reality. Feel how your breath naturally deepens as you approach the threshold of sleep. This isn't just oxygen entering your lungs, it's life force itself, carrying the frequency of your transformed state into every cell of your body. Your entire being is preparing to spend the next several hours literally becoming the person you're meant to be. The neural pathways that have been forming throughout this journey are now ready to be consolidated into permanent changes. Your sleeping mind will strengthen the connections that serve your highest good, while allowing outdated patterns to fade. When you wake, these new pathways will feel natural, familiar, like they've always been part of who you are. As consciousness fades into the quantum soup of sleep, you're not losing awareness, you're expanding it beyond the limitations of waking consciousness. Your sleeping mind has access to wisdom, creativity, and healing capacities that your waking self can barely imagine. Trust this deeper intelligence to guide your transformation. Your dreams will continue the work that began in waking consciousness, but without the resistance of the analytical mind. In the fluid reality of sleep, impossible things become possible. Healing happens instantaneously, and new versions of yourself can emerge without having to overcome the inertia of old patterns. The quantum field is alive with possibility, and your sleeping consciousness is diving into this ocean of potential. Every moment of rest is an opportunity for your nervous system to discover new ways of being, new responses to life, new expressions of your authentic nature. You're not just sleeping, you're evolving. Rest now in the knowing that your sleeping mind is already living in the reality your waking self is becoming. The integration is happening, the transformation is occurring, and when you wake, you'll find that the new reality has become as natural as breathing. What dreams will come to prepare you for tomorrow's possibilities? What healing will occur in the quantum field of sleep? What new version of yourself will emerge from the cocoon of rest? Let these questions drift through your consciousness like gentle lullabies, requiring no answers, only curious wonder as you surrender to the profound. The intelligence of your sleeping mind